In other words, it's due to the actual, what would you say, the ecosystem, okay, where there is definitely geoengineering going on. There is so much evidence now that I believe the European Union are actually accepting some kind of petitions being handed in by various countries. I have a friend there in Barcelona who's done a petition, and generally this video is just going out obviously worldwide, but locally in Glasgow I know there's 2 or 3 people in, you know, the west of Scotland that are in Scotland itself that are putting up YouTube videos, and it would be very good if we could do a petition against these GMO engineering. I believe that these many pilots are very, very aware what they're actually spraying in these jet airliners, mostly passenger jet airliners, okay? And there was one time that they actually forgot to actually switch the chemtrail off, so the chemtrails were still going when they were landing, and like the chemtrails were going everywhere. So the pilots actually know about chemtrails, and it must be a certain propaganda that these people are being told, which is not true, because the spray is actually causing the deoxygenization of the seas, of the rivers. Basically, this is what's happening, and it's killing off the actual ecosystem. You know, when creatures are eating one another, and there's this poison falling on them all the time, and it's producing more parasites, and it's basically going into the entire system. And recently been commenting on Jim Howe's videos, which I'm not an anti-Semite. I don't really believe he is either, but he does look at things logically, like, who's actually doing this? Who can actually afford to do this? Who hates the nation so much that there's only a handful of people in the earth that could really do it? And obviously, you know, you look at all the laws that have been passed from I think it's Geneva, Switzerland, including basically Herzl. I think it was what's his name? The guy that discovered Theodor Herzl, and then basically after that he convinced the Rothschilds to come on board, and then it was called Rothschild Zionism. And then what you had released was the papers of the Learned Elders of Zion, which Hitler actually used to persecute the Jews. Now, see, the thing about this is that the Learned Elders of Zion may have been mostly or all or part Jewish, okay? But the point is that the majority of Jewish people are not in their little secret society club right at the top. Even if they're in the Masons or whatever secret society they're in, they still don't know what the few at the top are doing, the elite people are doing. So you can't really see, they always use this, and it's just like, to them it's just cattle. So they'll just use people, they'll throw people into the slaughter to use them in negotiation for political ends, okay? And that is actually called the thesis antithesis, which produces a synthesis. In other words, they basically take 2 groups, mash them together, get them at each other's neck, okay? And the ones at the top are doing this, they're manipulating this, pulling the strings, and then they know if it goes so far and so many people lose their lives, that out of that will come the actual end goal, okay? So it's basically divide and conquer. You know, many empires have been using that strategy for millennia, and they've been doing it, successfully doing it and doing it again, and people always fall for it, hook, line and sinker. And basically you got to ask yourself, is there any way out of that? And basically the only way is not to participate. You know, if you actually see that there's actually a plan to manipulate the Zionists and to manipulate the Muslims, well, you can make intelligent comment on it, but at the end of the day, you know, I guess you could stand up for human rights, in which there are Muslims that are humans, there are Zionists that are humans, so you could meet themselves halfway and then you could give them the gospel. Because basically, if you're a Christian, that's all you should be really concerned with, is the gospel of Jesus Christ, is the good news. To find ways in which to actually tell people the good news of Jesus Christ. Okay? And then in their heads it'll be like propaganda. They'll be like, but we were told that the gospel is wicked and Christians were the ones that were causing all the wars. And then they'll just take a step back and look at their own situation and see that at the moment anyway, certainly at this time, it seems to be all about obviously Israel and the nations. And this is part of Bible prophecy as well. So it just seems to be a vast circle. Where does it really end? Who's the ones right at the very top? Well, what I would suggest is that in the Bible, that if Satan wants to do something to a certain group of people, or to do something to a person or whatever it is, Satan has to ask permission from God. Okay? He has to ask permission from God. We actually see that in the book of Job. Is written about. God actually boasts in his servant Job, and that look at how righteous he is, and God himself knowing that Job has a resilience in him, that he can use him as a good example. Okay, that believer is a good example, that he won't rebel against him, and the fact that he's willing to let Satan go and do bad, wicked things to that person, where at the end of the day God will prove himself to that person that he is God. He is the one in fact who is in control of everything. Okay, and basically I would suggest that there seems to be a lot of Satanism within Zionism, and then they talk about similar things with the imams. You know, that there's many sects of Islam as well. Again, it's something that I don't really know a great deal about. Okay, but I know at the same time I do quite respect their laws. You know, that they actually take some of the laws from the Bible, right? For example, that the man's the head of the house, and that's actually accepted in the three main religions: Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. Except that it seems to be only in Islam that rule is actually enforced, and it really is enforced. I mean, it's not like a light thing to these people, that if a woman steps out of place and she wants to disobey her husband, then she could certainly face death. And this used to be in Judaism as well. It may be still practiced in some circles, but largely it's grown very liberal Judaism. Okay, there's no longer any stonings or anything like that, but certainly if they get the third temple, they might want to bring in this very, very legalistic system again, like they have in the Muslim religion, which to some extent is okay, because it's showing people the boundaries that they can actually step over, and that there has to be consequences, you know. But it seems to be that it's so liberal in the Christian religion today that what women are getting away with within Christianity today is literally murder. They're getting away with murder, okay? And of course the court systems just can't catch up with it all, because they just see it as the decline in moral society or whatever. And while they've got their sort of thesis, antithesis thing going with Islam, you know, Sharia law, and you know, the Zionists and whatnot. So it's very I guess it's really sadly even the Apostle Paul wrote about this, that in the end times it would be like this, and sadly this is because of the moral decline of Christianity. This is the reason that these things are happening. If the ministers were standing up, they were more resilient to sin, that they actually showed that you have to actually, if you're a shepherd, you sometimes have to impose yourself a little bit on the sheep, or you have to use strategies so that the sheep don't end up running away from the pen. But these pastors are just so laid back and so liberal that the people are going to hell and they're just sitting back and just basically laughing. I mean, they just couldn't care less. And it's like the fact that there just doesn't seem to be a reality or a sense of basically them fearing God in any way. that they want to see families in the correct structure. They want to see the man as the rightful head of that house and so on. But it just seems that they're just so mixed up with even their own problems. I mean, a lot of pastors these days have a lot of problems themselves, and basically with wives that want to go off and do their own thing, that that some of them even want to work. Fair enough. I mean, you can work these things out in a family. That if a woman wants to work, that you can actually hire like nannies for the children. I mean, it sounds really bad, but if it keeps a marriage together, then you have to do these things. I mean, basically, I really do believe that it takes more than two people to make a marriage. You need the right structure of friends and family around you that can actually assist you in day-to-day activities and many things. And that's all I can really say about that. That there's a breakdown in community within various regions. I would say especially Christianity, and I believe that this is also being engineered by the elite as well. It's a social engineering that they've actually targeted Christianity. They've targeted the Bible, brought out the New Age Bible versions. You see, all this is happening, and it's making it such a temptation now for Christians just to say, I'm done with this, whatever they call Christianity. I'm just finished with it, and they just want to go and join a good social structure, like maybe they have in Islam. I know one or two of my friends ended up becoming marrying a Islamic girl, but I'm a born again Christian. They know that I was baptized and I'm born again, so I have to go on with my witness and testimony about Jesus Christ, even in the face of people unrighteously judging me, and some of the bad comments I even get on YouTube. I'm not doing this to make money or to make health, but just to actually spread the gospel, the good news of Jesus Christ. And so I thank you for your support, and everyone that continues to watch these videos. May the Lord bless you and keep